Alright. Welcome back, guys. Last week was kind of a crazy session, wasn't it? You finally settled on a plan to try and rid the city of Shasharin by frightening her off with images of the gifts of Bahamut, which defeated her 1,000 years ago. You dressed Yukikaze up in these images and challenged her. And she did seem to become visibly agitated, and her normal, calm, domineering nature seemed tested. She seemed to grow almost timid, but she still challenged back, and you fought her. The party fought her for 2 rounds, and as we were well past the normal ending time for the session, I felt like that was sufficient as a representative fight. At which point, another dragon appeared on the western horizon. A blue dragon that Shasharin identified as Elsementh came and exchanged words. Whether or not they are friendly is up to interpretation. And then enticed her to leave the city with him, at which point she did. The battle had raged, and left some people quite well injured by acid and other assaults of the dragon. And so now the party is left to lick its wounds in the care of the city guard of Tuka, who seems well convinced that they have you to thank for driving off the dragon. Clearly, the nearby Goliaths, at the very least, were incapable of understanding the draconic speech. And, so that's where we pick it up, as the 2 dragons, black and blue, have disappeared over the northern wall of the city, heading to parts unknown, for reasons that the party can only guess at, as what they heard was that Big Brother wants to speak with them. Wants to meet with all of them. And these ominous words play in your minds as translated for those who don't know Draconic by Laramendus as it was happening. So, here you stand at the edge of the barrier, at the edge of the preservation of Arathis that is keeping a massive crowd of people, representative of a large portion of the population of Tuka, safe within from the acid attacks. At this point, guards and citizens alike have been injured by acid and falling debris, and they are all within, being seen to by what few clerics exist within the city. You are aware that this last acid blast claimed lives in the crowd that the guards had pushed away from your position before the barrier closed, when this guard here was struck and fled his position holding the door open. So, Blair and Nalia, you are on opposite sides of the barrier. You are both blasted with acid. She is in a very bad way. Leah's inside the barrier. She had been flying in invisible and discovered that the dragon could still attack her, knew where she was. Jebel is inside the barrier. Cyrus, Naravar, Yukikaze, Vendar, and Raiken are all outside the barrier, having been fighting the dragon there.
Saying I'm invisible, made me realize something.
What's that? When you
Like
got attacked?
after the dragons left,
Mm-hmm.
and I was there. Some of the guards said something like they were cheering or something about we did it, and I was like, we really didn't.
Yeah,
Something
yeah.
like that.
You
I
started
just
to.
yeah.
Well, you had said something. So, does your greater invisibility hide sounds?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
No.
So,
Yeah.
like, I know that you had said something. It's not necessary that he was speaking to anyone in particular when he said you did it. Is the kind of line that somebody might say to themselves.
No, I know that, but I realized that I said that like Leah had forgotten she was invisible and said that
So
out
he might have
loud.
been surprised to hear the voice, but you'd been mostly using Eldritch Blast, which is also invisible. So I suppose there isn't really a way for him to know you were there, other than any sounds you might have been making as you transferred from flight to walking.
Is Eldritch Blast invisible?
Eldritch Blast is a force attack, and force attacks are invisible.
Yeah,
It
but
might
I'm
still be like a silvery bolt. Like magic missile is visible.
Magic Missile is visible? I thought they were just ripples.
No, I'm pretty sure Eldritch Blast is visible because it has a description to it.
Okay, I mean, if it has a physical description, then I would go with that.
Yeah, beam of crackling energy for Eldritch Blast.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, they're just originating from nowhere. I just imagined force attacks were always invisible.
And then
I
magic
always
missile are glowing darts of magical force. So
Okay.
glowing pellet or something.
Yeah. I mean,
Personally,
as I say, a dart.
I'd always imagine them as kind of, you can't really see the bolt itself, but you can see it kind of affecting the air as it flies through it.
Well, that's what I thought too, but it sounds like there is actually light that it gives off. So,
So
okay.
are you saying I can magic missile the darkness and get rid of it?
Lose
More like-
50 experience.
Okay.
I'm surprised you didn't come back with worth it.
Alright, so, the city is no longer directly imperiled, and the guards, at least nearby you, in fact, you can hear cheers going through the crowd extending north of you as they see the dragons fly off and away from the city. They may not know who saved them, but they do seem to be exclaiming their relief at the dragons leaving. Go.
Question for you. How loud was this conversation between the two dragons?
It carried over a few hundred feet because the blue dragon didn't approach terribly nearby. They seem to have like naturally booming voices, like people under the effect of thaumaturgy.
Yeah.
But they didn't seem to care. So it is likely that many people were capable of hearing it. And it is
that
possible.
was. I wanted to know if it was reasonably likely that there would be people that heard it that understood it.
It
And
is
it sounds like
reasonably
it
likely
is,
that there are
so-
many people that heard it. It is likely that there are some that understood it. But you know that there are other races present, but
Yeah.
like the lion's share of people in the city fall into the three races: half-orc, half-giant, and tiefling. And none of those races naturally tend to learn, or rather, as part of their growing up, tend to learn Draconic. Now, many of them may know Draconic,
Yeah.
even still, but it seems to be clear by the immediate conversation of the guards around you that at least these ones were uncomprehending of the conversation they just heard.
Yeah. I'm going to telepath to everyone because I think Vendar had like telepathed something to interrupt Leah to be like, no, don't tell them that we didn't do it or something like that.
Yeah, because you're still using Rary's telepathic bond, you
Yep.
can immediately respond to each other.
So I am going to telepath to everyone and say it is likely that at least some of the people here heard and understood the conversation between the dragons. I don't feel it is a wonderful idea to directly lie about our part in the events.
Yeah, we don't lie. We just don't correct them when they say we did it.
I'll put it to you this way: Temple of
We just
Ione.
need Stone to think that we did it. That way he'll get off our back about our shit. It's ours, not his.
Temple of Ione, Champion of Ione. I don't see that going very well for you.
And you did not make Ash part of this telepathic circle, so he is not privy to the conversation that's going on.
Woo! Just don't tell Ash.
No, well, one, that conversation's going to come up anyway. Two, the temple does need to know about the existence of at least one other awakened ancient dragon.
And 3, I'd be surprised if Ash doesn't speak Draconic.
Yes.
That was a good point.
So, I'm sorry, but you're out of luck. We might be able to at least bargain for the cart back.
This is
But any
mine.
information we share
I'm just
with...
gonna not... Stone just won't see me again. How about that?
Okay, that's a plan. Yukikaze, go ahead. What were you saying?
I was gonna say, we could also use the information from the Temple of Ione to reinforce us with the information about Bala to persuade them that they're gonna be hurting themselves in the long run with not giving our stuff back, because we need it for the upcoming battle.
Battles, plural. There's far from one remaining.
Well, but that's my point, though, is like we need to make sure we just be honest. We got to be honest, anyways. For Ione, emphasize the importance of us having our stuff. It's not for a purely selfish reason.
Indeed.
Yeah, but Stone doesn't like us.
Well, he's a guard. He's a guard.
No,
he's
he's not
someone
a
that
guard.
protects. So
he is either on the council or has the council's ear. I don't believe he is a guard, but
Oh,
Yes, just as a quick correction for you, so that you can make your arguments more completely, Yukikaze. The party, this is not the first time the party has dealt with Stone. He was the one who welcomed you to the town the first time,
yeah.
and he
that's
was
what I remembered.
he was direct about telling you that he was a member of the council who was delegated to deal with you as adventurers from outside the city.
That's right. Yeah, sorry, I forgot.
No,
that
it's
part.
okay. I mean, it can be confusing because pretty much all of the guards you've dealt with have been half-giants, and he is a half-giant.
Alright, so, but, we could always, guys, we could always try to appeal to his good natures, because I don't think he's a bad person, so we could use, try to, get in touch with that.
Well,
I think he's
let's
a
cross
prick.
that bridge when we come to it.
anyway, we should probably get the guards to open up this area so that all of you may re-enter the shield.
Yeah, I'm gonna go heal Nalia.
25. 25.
I'm going to go and ask the guard who is just north of me to let all of these people back in.
Okay. And he's going to look to you, and he's going to turn away again and look clearly in the direction that the dragons fled. And he will look a little nervous, and he will say, "You don't think they're coming back, then?"
I do not.
And he's going to very slowly draw in a breath, and you're going to see he kind of uses it to straighten himself up, and he's going to let it out slowly. He says, "Very well. Thank you." And he's going to move over to the same spot the previous garden inhabited. And after a moment, it's going to glow blue and then green.
I'm going to telepathically remind Laramendus. I mean, didn't the Black Dragon specifically say she was coming back? You know, just not quickly.
I believe that continuing a panic with the lower ranked guards is probably not the way to introduce that information to the leaders of the city. We can discuss with Stone the actual implications of things, but the immediate danger seems to have passed.
Follow up for the voice in the sky. Wasn't that part in common because it was a threat to the town?
Yes, she did very much cry out to the assembled people of the city in common and say something to the effect of, enjoy the reprieve I'm giving you. Use this time to gather your dead and your wits or something like that, so because when I return, I'm going to destroy it all.
So my understanding of his question had been, is the immediate danger done? Like, there's nothing more that, like, she's not going to immediately turn around and do something.
I mean, you can't know
there's
exactly
nothing
what
for
her
us to-
plans
Yeah,
are,
yeah.
but it was the kind of departure that says, I'm going to keep everyone in a panic because I don't know how long I'm going to be gone.
Right. My statement had been, my understanding of the guards question
Yes.
had been that.
Yeah. No, I think that you were perfectly reasonable in answering the guard the way you did. I think that the discussion that Laramentis is having with Cyrus is an extension of this understanding, and is something that should be agreed upon between the two of you. So, continue.
Yeah.
Alright, well, now with my questions answered, I'm fine with what was said.
Okay.
Nalia gets 20 points of health back from 3 charges from the Gnome of Healing. Or whatever.
The
Gnome
Gnome of Healing.
Yeah, you just
I'm
huck a
drunk.
gnome at someone. and
Daddy was like, pocket gnome.
I'm gonna say this. It's been a long day. It's just gonna get worse from here.
Alright, so you pull out the Gnomish Rod of Healing, and point its amethyst end at her, saying the words. Remember that the words are in Gnomish. They were explained to you once. Are they something that you have kept close to your heart?
In character, maybe, since it's only been, a couple days.
I mean, days are long.
Out of character? Absolutely not. That was months ago.
Well, we'll just roll it like a language check then. What's the worst that could happen? So,
I have
Nalia
taken
takes 20 points of damage because it becomes a lot of inflict.
nice.
If that's how that works, I need to mispronounce it more often.
This is actually the Gnomish Rod of Wounds, and how you say the incantation determines if it's cure or inflict.
That would actually be kind of awesome.
Yeah, but it does it both ways. When it's inflicting.
It heals and hurts the user as well. Okay. So, Rolly, I believe we went with history.
I thought it was just intelligence, but if it's history, awesome. That'll
The
help.
normal language checks are just in.
They're
straight
just
checks.
int? Okay.
That for what you were saying, to remember a particular phrase could make sense as a history check.
Yeah, this was a memorization thing, so we'll go
Yeah,
with that.
so that would be history then, reasonably.
Okay.
Nat 20, 24.
Okay. You do remember the phrase that you learned a few days ago, and have used a couple times since receiving the item. You repeat the gnomish words, and the amethyst begins to glow, and you reach out to press it against her skin. She is badly burned by acid. Much of her clothing is gone. She does not seem to have really noticed, or if she has, she does not seem particularly bothered by what is exposed. she sees you doing this, she hears the gnomish, and she watches you perform this. And there's just the barest moment of pulling away as you extend the rod toward her, as the gem begins to glow before you see, even in her face, she kind of exerts a level of composure over herself, and allows you to perform this. So, how much health does she regain?
20.
20 points.
Did you tell her that you were doing that, or did you just walk over to her?
I
Poke her with
didn't
a
think about
magic
it because I didn't think about it. So yeah. Just oops.
It's usually polite to you know.
Yeah, we're
mention.
just gonna throw that in the oops category and move on.
It is why she reacted the way she did.
At least you weren't still invisible.
So the wand glows, and you see this purple glow transfer to her body and sort of envelop her. And as the glow begins to, it becomes bright and then begins to dim, almost seeming to be absorbed into her. You see the layers of flesh and skin over the exposed parts of her body repairing and healing somewhat. Not fully. She's still extremely hurt, but she's looking better. And as the glow fades, and you can now see the fringes of pink flesh where her clothing has been melted away before the blackened burns from the acid, she lets out a sigh of relief and says, "Thank you. I didn't know you were going to do that, but I appreciate it."
I would have walked up to Jebel by this point, but unless Cyrus has removed 10 greater invisibility, he don't know.
So you're just gonna sneak up on him.
Well, I don't realize I sneak up. I'm just waiting there because that's the whole thing.
Flying?
It's a very good question. So I guess I'm landing there.
Yeah, because you were, according to what I've got, it says you're still... Your last known position was 60 feet in the air. I think it was probably actually 30 feet in the air, because you were shooting out the door.
No.
So do you want to go to ground?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll put you at 0.
Yeah, I was gonna see, is Raiken flying?
Right.
Yeah, Raiken was flying still.
So you're still high in the air.
Well, like 35 feet, I think.
Okay. Then I'm keeping
yes.
the spell concentrated for the
Alright, so you can move at 60, so that would allow you to get all the way over to Jebel and touch down next to him if you want.
Yeah.
And are you doing this carelessly or carefully? Like, are you just sort of touching down, like just landing, or are you actually trying to be, like, gentle about it?
Yeah, no, I'm just landing. I'm not
Okay.
trying to scare him. Leah just completely forgotten she's invincible.
Yeah, alright, so there is, like, for Jebel's sake, Jebel, there is, like, the sudden sound of footsteps next to you, as if somebody just hopped a few feet and landed one foot and then the other next to you, and you look and there's no one there.
And then the spell wears off because it's definitely been over a minute.
With the talking and the stuff. I mean, it was only 2 rounds, which is only 12 seconds.
Yeah, but there was a lot of discussion over, we need to get our cart back.
Well, there was a bit of that, but remember, it does happen faster than normal because you're telepathing it. But
Fair enough,
the
but
spell
also,
is definitely going to wear soon here, you know, within seconds.
Regardless, since combat and danger is gone, I'd stop concentrating because I imagine it's just a bit of a wear to do it needlessly.
A little bit, so I'm gonna take this marker off of you.
Yep, no longer concentrating. Technically, mirror image is still going for like the next few seconds, but not
Okay.
long.
They'll end around the same time as fly, or invisible.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, you hear somebody like land next to you, feet hitting the cobbles, the flagstones, but you don't see anyone.
Are we still doing combat rounds?
No. It's free action.
Well, if she just landed right beside me and I am badly injured,
Yeah.
probably in a bad way, I'm gonna swing with my staff.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, you may make an attack roll at disadvantage. This is fair.
And it's a 21.
That was with disadvantage?
14. Sorry, 14. Wait, I'm at a disadvantage for some reason.
Yeah, that miss.
Okay. So you
Ah.
catch nothing, swish through the air. Leah, you land wearied, hoping to talk to Jebel, and suddenly he just seems to like tense up and swing his staff next to him. You duck quickly underneath it.
Hey, watch it.
You hear Leah's voice exude from nowhere, and after a few seconds of looking around, the invisibility will now fade, and Leah will become slowly present next to you, you know, with her hands around her head, staring at you with wide eyes.
Don't do that.
Do what?
You snuck up on me.
I landed here.
Yeah. Snuck up and landed. Sorry, I'm on edge. I had acid on me. And he gestures to himself because he's in a bad way.
Could you heal yourself?
Yeah.
You will note that your armor doesn't look badly melted at all. Like just a single, you know, like one of the leather straps of one of the pauldrons is just destroyed, but the armor overall looks pretty good, especially when compared to the exposed parts of your flesh.
Which is probably like my face.
As opposed to your face.
Wait, is
I
he
mean-
still wearing the armor that falls apart?
Yeah.
Never removed the curse on it, so
It seems, being leather, it definitely is very suspicious how well it held up against the acid attack. Like, everyone else, even people with plate armor, you can see the acid has, you know, visibly warped and eaten away the metal. The leather would just be burned off and blackened just like their flesh beneath. This leather seems almost unaffected by the acid. Like, there's this 1 point of visible damage, and it doesn't even look like it was caused by acid. It looks like the thing just fell off because it's shitty.
I should get someone to open this thing. I gotta heal. It's better if I heal a group of people.
Then go heal that group of people. I point towards the crowd.
The door is open at this point.
Yeah.
The guard standing here is glowing green.
I'm going to go to the door and tell everyone to come in.
Yeah, Raiken is going to land and
I'm coming in also.
head
quickly.
inside to try to help with healing people.
I'll move inside as well. And try and give Lerman just some healing too.
I'm going to find the 6 most injured people in the crowd. I'm going to group them slightly together.
Are you going to shout, "Who's the most hurt"?
I'm gonna look.
Just make a medicine check.
You're dead. You're dead.
You're
You're
dead.
alive.
My intent was to walk with Nalia and like be with her inside.
Yes, she did come over to you and allowed you to lead her within when you called everyone. Okay, so I want to just understand, is Jebel, when you say you're finding the 6 most hurt people, you mean in the crowd of just these people, the citizens, not your group?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was there anybody in that crowd that didn't just get instantly melted?
Yeah, there were some that didn't just get instantly melted, but there were also some that did.
Yukikazu's gonna look at Raiken and go, "Look, I have wings."
And then Raiken's gonna punch the material.
Your hand goes through it.
As a matter of fact, your hand goes through it because it is not in fact there. It is an illusion.
Liar.
And so now you find when you look at it, it seems transparent and ghost-like to you, as opposed to solid as it appeared before.
You wish you had wings.
Vendar, are you coming inside?
Yeah.
Okay. Who would you like to bias yourself toward? Is there anybody that he is particularly interested in speaking to or dealing with or avoiding?
I mean, I don't really want to talk to Stone, but
Just avoid Stone at all
I'll
costs.
avoid Stone for now. I don't want to. My gun, bitch.
Just go and dance around Stone.
I'm sure he'll love that.
Okay. So
Pick a group, any group.
just over here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to tell Lemris I'm going to heal him some,
Thank you.
and he gets 18 points of HP.
Again, the staff glows purple, and he pushes the end of it, the crystalline end, against you. And this light envelops you and then absorbs, and your skin begins to mend. Your clothing is still badly damaged, and you feel very exposed.
So, actually, how does mage armor affect that?
Let me take a quick peek.
Oh yeah.
See if it says
Tristan.
anything. Yes?
Before I actually go inside, I'm gonna pick up the gun as well.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna head inside.
That's fair. I mean, you have 60 movement, so you've got enough to do that and get inside. Just quickly look at this.
You touch a willing creature who isn't wearing armor, and a protective magical force surrounds it until the spell ends.
The spell ends if the target dons armor or if you dismiss the spell. A piece of cured leather. I don't know. Damage to clothing through mage armor. It seems to just increase AC, so I don't...
I mean, you're gonna have a hard time finding an answer, because most spells say you can't damage anything that's being worn or carried.
Yeah.
Most spells and effects.
But it's acid. It's no fun if it doesn't damage anything, because then how are you supposed to know that it's acid?
But the fact that it's liquid and not gas?
No. Not good enough. Plus, you can have sublimated acids, which are terrifying.
It's
The more
fine.
you know.
It's all fine.
Cloth items are too overpowered. That's great. What? Anyway, yeah, it doesn't seem to have a quick answer, so, I mean, I would say that perhaps it is less damage than it might otherwise be, but you're still experiencing some damaged clothing here.
Okay, cool.
Nalia is exposed.
No mage armor. And shield that popped up on her.
Oh no, she clearly has. I don't know how clear it is. How clear is it?
Mage armor isn't obvious at all.
No, so I guess you don't know. It is reasonable to assume that if she is a mage and decided to enter combat, that she would have used it if she knew it, and it is reasonable to assume she is a type of person who would know it.
Yeah.
If not something that she would outright tell you. It was like, hey, I know this spell. You should know that I know this spell so that we can work together better. Because that's also part of her pragmatism.
Any mage that expects to possibly that thinks they might one day be in combat
Should have
has the
mage
spell.
Yes.
It's known as the spell tax.
I think the spell tax is the counterspell.
Yeah, there's that too. If you're fighting a wizard.
Yes,
Well,
but
no other
I
combats.
think I see what you mean. It's the thing you cast every day,
Yep.
sometimes twice.
Yep.
The hell level is it?
Mage Armor is a first level spell.
Okay.
I'm going to attempt to retrieve my cloak from Yikaze.
Okay.
Oh, but then it loses wings.
But I look so cool.
Yeah, and I need clothes, and, well, this is what I got.
Yeah, I guess I don't. Yeah, we can cover that up. All right, here you go.
It's got
Like,
nothing but
I'm down
pasty.
to a pant leg and pasties.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so fun to hear it. So, as I was going through my, learning all of the spells that she would need to know when I was building her character sheet last night, Mage Armor was one that I managed to skip over.
Oops.
That is unfortunate for her.
It is indeed. But, I mean, given that she should have had another ability, because I grabbed the wrong effect on something else last session, she's had a bad time of it anyway. Just from the get-go.
And given that she had access to a lot of resources and the ability to copy spells, she would have had a lot more than just the however many they gain from leveling.
Oh yeah, no. She has many spells, but it's just she can only pick so many of them to have prepared.
It's true. She might not have prepared that one if she wasn't expecting to be near the rooms where apprentices experiment or anything like that today.
Yeah.
So when it says she's exposed, you mean
I mean that the damage to her clothing would be improper in polite society.
Okay, so I'm going to
I will
take
remove
off
my
old...
cloak,
Yeah, okay.
which is
I'll
also
just-
damaged, but like.
This is fair. I do want to hear what Leah's intent was, though.
Okay.
I was gonna do something similar. Take out my the old purple cloak I had.
Is it in the bag of holding that Nalia has on her person?
Did the transfer actually ever
Yeah,
exist?
she's been holding the bag of holding, and then she got splashed with acid, so it was like looped over one of her arms, like in the crook of her elbow, and then it was just acid. So the one good thing that comes out of this is that you know that the bag of holding can survive acid.
Okay. Well, well, the strap wasn't on it though. I used to have it attached to the belt.
Right, but I mean, like, it's still got a loop on it.
Okay.
So, like, imagine that the mouth of it is, like, drawstrings that you normally tie around it. She might have her arm through those drawstrings rather than be using the belt loop.
Yeah, so, yeah. In that case, I'm gonna ask to get the bag back first.
Yes, your cloak was not magical, right, Sam?
No, it is a piece of cloth that is partly intact and is therefore more than nothing.
Yes.
But
so yes, as she comes to you and you help to lead her inside, you are of course aware of this and quickly proffer your very damaged item, for which she does show gratitude. And Leah will quickly ask for the bag and produce an undamaged item from it. And you say you are offering it to her?
Yeah.
And it's purple cloth?
Yeah. It used to be my old cloak, so it's a bit short to wear as a cloak for her, but it works to cover her.
it's a wrap now.
Yeah. She's kind of still in this mode where she's not fully herself at this point, in the wake of the battle. But she looks down at it as you offer it up, as she had kind of absently handed you the bag off her arm, as you offer it, and she seems to slowly become aware that you intend for her to take it from you. And so you do see her hand, which the flesh on which is burned in many places, in some places very badly, you know, she kind of like twitches as she reaches over, and she lays her palm on the fabric and says, "It's beautiful and very soft." And she seems to take an extra second, then blink and go, "Thank you." And she reaches over with her other hand and kind of shakily like takes it and holds it up in front of herself before kind of like throwing it around her neck, like a wrap or a shawl, but around the front like a smock kind of, seeming to have, you know, understanding dawn. You know, barely taking a moment to look over herself before she just covers it, and she seems to relax somewhat as the covering falls around her. That's better. We should get to the healers.
Has Stone approached us at this point?
No. He's been sort of... he's been off over here in the building, just sort of watching, and he's... Judging by his expression, he seems to be having thoughts. You're not sure what those thoughts are, but he seems to be pensive. And he is very clearly watching you and your interactions with each other and your interactions with the guards. And, you know, he would have a guard of his own.
I will thank the guard who had been keeping the thing open, and I think at this point there's nobody in this area that is rushing in because everyone was scared of the dragon that would have run away from it anyway.
Yeah.
So he's probably not needed to keep it open, and I will thank him,
and he will bang off a metal-coated salute and then step away and then off to the side of the road. And he will look around at your group as he goes. He says, That was some work you pulled off with the dragon. And he's kind of saying this, like he kind of stops mid-stride as he heads toward the edge of the road, and sort of just says it without eye contact over his shoulder. He says, obviously no one else in the city would have done that, and so you have my thanks at least. Yeah, for what it's worth.
I'm glad we could help.
For what it's worth, you seem to be living up to the stories that have recently come.
Yeah, we're not putting us in the most favorable situations, but it's what must be done.
He strides to the edge of the road and takes up a position there, looking to be at attention, and then you kind of see his head fall to one side. He goes, I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I do hope you will continue protecting citizens as best you can, in the way I see you trying to do.
We'll do our best.
I'm glad that the guards were well organized to get this many people to the safety provided here. I am going to move to the guard that was wounded.
That is him, who you just saw limping his way back over to the side of the road to take up.
Since if we're going back to the healers, I want to make sure that he is coming with us.
I'm gonna move him to the front of the line, since that was Leo's fault that he got blasted.
No, that was the dragon's fault.
I will say that as you move over there, you feel some resistance, particularly in your blouse, as you notice that Nalia has pinched onto the fabric behind your shoulder with one of her hands, and she's not really seeming to be looking at anything in particular. She seems very... her expression is very lost, and very... She's clearly thinking about something else, but she's holding on to you, and as you move, she sort of shuffles with you.
I will offer her my arm as a more stable point of contact than the clothing that is falling apart.
And there's a couple seconds before there's any recognition that this has happened, and you can feel like as she releases the fabric, she maintains contact with that hand and follows the line of your arm down to the crook at your elbow, and then seizes it rather tightly and follows you. You approach the guard with Nali on tow.
That acid did a number on all of us. We were going to head back to the temple and see if there was some healing, and you also seem in need of that. Would you come with us?
And he's going to kind of like stand straighter at attention as best he can. You can see he's a bit rattly as his muscles don't want to respond quite right. And he says, "Now, with the leave of my superior officer, I would like that, yes."
I would like to have tagged along, or at least been close behind.
I think my moving over in that direction seems obvious enough. So yeah, that makes sense to me.
Where am I?
If I may, I could use this to heal you somewhat.
You say this to the officer?
Yep, because for someone brave enough to hold the line, I feel you should have express treatment.
He looks at the magic item in your hand, and some concern seems to cross his face, and he says, "No, if we're going to the healers, I think that they'll do just fine for me. I'm not sure what that does, but I think that if it's as good as you say, you should save it for your group. You fought a dragon. But I will accompany you to the healers."
Or I could just go walk over and just touch him and heal him for 20 points.
You did good out
Attack.
Like, he's having
Yeah,
this
just hit him
exchange
on the butt. Wham!
clank, clank, clank. And suddenly this silvery gold light flows over him, and he kind of, as you see, many of the wounds on his body from the acid, the burns, begin to scab and close. Again, many of them still remain, since it was 67 points of damage, but he is looking
so much damage.
significantly. Yes, dragons are terrifying.
Yeah. I knew what to get rid of all the damage, but I figured that would suffice until he gets to more general healing.
And he turns to you and says, "You're a healer."
I'm a paladin, so yes, I have some healing abilities to go with my fighting capabilities.
Paladin, you aren't. And he seems to be like looking over, looking you from top to bottom, like really like wide-eyed and disbelieving. He's like, "You're a paladin of Cord. You're not his chosen warrior, his champion, are you?"
Aha! That is me. As you can see by the armor.
I confess I've no clue the importance of the armor. I just... Well, there are stories, you see. The Temple of Cord being as influential a power in the city as it is. There are stories.
As I hear this conversation from the distance, I would have walked a little closer. I wouldn't stand that far out as the rest. I would take I'll take on my hood and kind of tighten it, hiding myself.
Dad, you're embarrassing me.
Let's see, does Raiken notice her getting embarrassed? Yes, he does.
Oh,
That's a first.
And he keeps going anyway. Like the dad that he
Goes
is.
even
Yeah,
harder.
I got a 19 on perception, so.
wow.
Insight, not perception.
Oh, insight. Well, then that's gonna be 23.
I'm even better at that.
I have.
He's gonna start flexing.
Oh god, Jebel.
Yeah. Where am I?
You are. Oh, you were over here healing people.
Oh yeah, up north.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So how many spell slots would you spend healing people? Because you would easily be able to find more than one group of 6 people.
Oh, I only had one spell slot that could cast. That was Mass Cure Wounds.
Oh, okay. So you're going to just choose 6 people in the crowd. How much health do you give them?
They got 12. After that, I can wander around casting other spells. I can cast Cure Wounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I can cast Cure Wounds 8 times of varying levels. And then that's all my spell slots.
Okay. So you're going to burn all of your remaining spell slots healing the people here?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay. Very well. You said 8 times plus these 6 people, so you could do up to 14 individual people if you chose a new person every time?
The first 6 would get 12, and then the rest of them depends on the level. And the roll.
Right, but I meant number of people. If you did each person just
altogether.
once, it was 14.
Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. Okay, so yeah, you are up there healing the crowd while this conversation is going on. It doesn't take you long if you're just going to very quickly cast 9 spells. And then you begin to head back over, and as you head back over, you do hear Raiken's boisterous voice as he proclaims himself the champion of Chord to this guard.
Today's one of those days. I wish someone could use me like a battery. To actually heal more of these people.
You don't say.
We haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah, I'm
Yet.
aware. I'm not a fan of the current option. I like living, you know? It's nice.
I approach that. So that's me done.
At least it was till I started running around with you a lot, but oh well, at least we're helping people, which is good.
Part of that would be converting arcane power into divine power, which...
I mean, if it goes to residuum first, I think that takes care of that problem. You didn't say it was specifically arcane casters that could use it for their components.
More would need to be discovered about how it all functions.
Yep, and that is a research project for after the world is saved.
Alright, so we're heading to the healers right now. I think we should all stay as a group until everything gets sorted out.
Indeed.
Have you got anything to say to the group as you return, Jebel?
Yeah, I said, well, that's me done. I am pooped.
I appreciate your effort. And I'm
Do you want me
they
to-
do as well.
Do you want me to carry you, Jebel?
No, I like silver.
Okay. Cause I'm still riding on some adrenaline from fighting this dragon, and I'm still doing pretty good.
Nice job with the speech, by the way. Very well done.
It wasn't enough though. It makes me sad.
I mean, well, I don't think it would ever be enough by itself, but you pulled out pretty much all the right stuff, especially when you had said Bala was possibly being boastful or arrogant, but you got rid of the full set. That was a very good call on your part.
It did sound like they still believe that to be the case.
By the way, give me back my poison.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, the poison gremlin's back.
I'm not all about that stuff, so you can have it back.
Raiken will give his poison back as well.
But being that they're
also kind of dripping. Good luck getting that back if you want to try and get back like part of a vial.
If you already used it, you already used it. But anybody who didn't use the poison, give it back.
Well, also, the fact that they're evil, evil does evil, so I figured, it being an evil dragon, it probably would have lied through its freaking dragon teeth,
Yeah, well, like I said, that was a very good call. I think you did quite well.
Thank you, Cyrus, for the...
I should know.
Wait, Raiken had 2 and Yukikaze had 6, right?
Yes, I believe that is... Yeah, that should be correct. You gave me a lot because I was going to be in the front lines. And Laramandus didn't want...
I think I had 2.
Okay.
I had 2, but I used them. I shot 2 of the bolts. Never hit with them, though. That was a high AC.
The highest thing. I missed with my shots, yeah.
Well,
but a 28 hit twice.
I was really hoping for a slightly lower number. I wanted to.
What's the lowest number we know is hit? That one, because that's the first time you've attacked her AC and hit.
Well, while we're resting, guys, we should try to think of information we can give, or how we're gonna approach the situation to get our stuff back without too much of a dispute.
Look, if we have to give the stuff back, we have to give the stuff back, but we can probably at least
give us. It's my stuff.
Yes, and it was apparently against the law to bring it here. We did
Fuck
not know,
him.
but
My shit.
not make us get a free pass.
Well, honestly, it's...
Let me put it in the bag of holding. He'll never know where it went.
How rare magical items are to have a law for that.
It was destroyed in the fight.
Is kind of weird, and also for the fact of, if it was that much of a big deal, they think they would let people entering the town know of that?
Well,
by the way, if you have magical items, they're not allowed in the town.
Well, it's not magic items, it's cursed.
He's just on a power trip.
I have an important question. Is all of this argument happening through the telepathic bond?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I certainly would not have started this out loud.
Okay.
It's part of the wonders of Raria's telepathic bond.
We did not declare it, though. That's what we gotta be careful about. So, yes, that would be... If we were smart, just voice in the sky, that's what we did.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it makes sense, since at this point you've had a lot of practice using Raria's telepathic bond, and y'all have your reasons.
Yeah. So, that's just ponder your thoughts while we rest, and we'll have to figure out this whole thing.
Oh wait. Cheb was going to run towards the cart.
Okay.
I don't think we still have permission to take things from the cart. You might not want to do that. As he's running.
Yeah.
Running. Check. Is this thing on?
Nope.
Jibble, I don't think. And there he goes. Okay.
Can we kick him out while he's doing that, so that's not on us?
Like, verbally tell the people around you he's not with you anymore.
No.
He's not one of us now.
Cyrus.
He just left the group, so he's on his own.
Okay.
We could just speak that he's still very bit childish, so he didn't know better. He's still very young.
I mean, that's true. Also,
And
I was mostly just joking.
Okay. And I was just gonna say, you could also say that, you know, he is a druid, and we don't know what his real age might be, you know.
Okay.
He could be super young.
16.
Well, that's in human. He could be, like, super young for a druid. We don't know that.
Druid's not a race. I think.
Yeah, he's a gnome.
Well, we don't know how their magic affects their body. I don't know how their magic works.
I mean...
Alright. Hang on.
I wonder how old paladins get.
It takes you a while to get over here because of how far it is and how small you are. And as you get there and you begin doing whatever it is that you're doing, you are going to hear the clanking, crunching of armored boots coming up behind you. So what is it exactly that you are doing?
Sent you a message.
Okay. So, like, you turn around as, like, the clanking boots come up because you've finished. And he says, Master Gnome, is there something that I can help you with?
And I turn around. Nope, got it. And then I just head back to the group.
We should already be on the way to the temple, right?
Oh yeah, we abandoned him and he's on his own.
And as you head back, he is going to keep pace with you easily because he's gigantic. And he's going to say
Yes, he's still walking.
are aware that you're not to be taking things from the city's armory at this point. While we are eternally grateful for what you've done, there are protocols to be followed.
And I'll just
Forms
point
to fill out.
my shoulder.
Hello there. What's your name?
Say the line.
It's not for me.
Hi, I'm Jibble.
He's just sort of staring at it, as I imagine it stares back at him.
We can't talk.
I imagine this is a pet of yours.
Sort of.
Well, what's his name?
No, I never asked.
Well, we've told you what he said his name was.
Hey, you're not over there.
Yeah.
But I can still hear everything he's thinking as he thinks it.
Only if he sends it.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, only if he actively telepaths it. When Jebel does run away from us, I am going to telepath at him. Where are you going?
Oh. Get my squirrel.
Oh, sure. Him you answer.
He's back.
Hey, why's he get a squirrel?
You have
into dragon acid or poison.
Oh, poor speakers.
Oh, God.
So the group
I
begins
hardly knew you.
pushing its way slowly through the crowd toward the Temple of Ione. Why did it not let me just start dragging? There we go. Like, is everybody actually here? Okay, everybody's actually here. Don't run over that poor man.
It's fine.
But it's a female dwarf minstrel, apparently.
But they're fine.
So, you push your way through the crowd back to the central square. And, you find your way up to the Temple of Ione, where clerics are now more freely moving about through the crowd, and you can see 2, maybe 3 in the vestments of Ione, and then another 3, it looks like, in the vestments of Arathis. And then, surprisingly, 4 or 5 in the vestments of Cord. And they're easy to pick out because you'll see beacons of light alternately flashing throughout the crowd, accompanied by the colored robes. And eventually your interesting group composition, led by this injured guard, pushes its way into the middle of the crowd. And the crowd seems to, like, as you kind of stand there and all kind of move in together, they seem to sort of spread out away from you, kind of giving a perimeter around you. Sort of your very presence and your very closeness seems to exude this aura of authority, and people there seem to give birth around you.
Gross.
Not like that. B-E-R. Come on.
That's not how you spell it, Tristan. Yes, that's in there.
And a couple of clerics are going to approach the group, seeing the severity of your wounds. And one of the clerics of Cord is going to push his way up to you. This one actually appears to be a dwarf, who is clad in chain armor, with a lightning bolt symbol hanging around his neck. And he's going to say, I've been treating lots of bruises and bangs and scrapes as people come to hide in the middle, but I don't know what the hell happened to you. Come here, come close, sit down. You're too tall, I can't reach.
That's from the front line.
I know the feeling.
He says, you jump, you too short.
Shut up, that's racist.
And he's going to cast a mass cure wounds over the people who look the most hurt down to the least hurt. And he's been saving that. So it's gonna be, let's see, whoopsie. This guy, you, her. I'm just gonna separate them out.
Mm-hmm.
Who else was really hurt? Leah, you got beat up.
I am no longer bloody.
Okay.
Yeah.
My level of being hurt.
I got chewed on.
Yukikaze is in perfectly good condition.
Okay.
Yeah, Vendar's unhurt.
Okay. Jebel's hurt?
Jebel's like a third of his health.
Okay. Alright, so... Let me revive. Who else from this group is actually hurt? Naravar isn't hurt. Oh, Jebel, there you are. Vendar was unhurt. Sorry, I grabbed the wrong icon. Cyrus is hurt, right?
Nope, I never got hit.
Okay.
But all my hurt came from when I got killed. I'm fine now.
Let's see here. Just need to grab.
He's just like flirting with the Raven Queen.
I would not call it that. And neither would you, because how would you know?
Sorry.
After the third or fourth time, yeah.
You develop a rapport.
Yeah. You get real close.
Yeah, you show up. Oh,
is
you again. Should I just get you a coffee? Wait 5 seconds.
Oh, there it is.
We'll just random townspeople make up the other people to have the full set of people to cast at for the spell, presumably.
19 plus the spellcasting modifier, which in this case should look something like probably.
If they have any life clerics, I imagine the channel divinity they have is going to get used a lot this day.
Okay, so it looks like each of you can regain 23 HP.
I am full.
You are welcome.
Nalia is still a little bit hurt, but she's looking significantly better.
I
And
did
think,
absorb 28 HP into my shield.
yes, I think
I love abjuration magic. It's
she's
wonderful.
going to throw
I'm
another healing word her way.
I'm fully restored.
Alright, that puts her much closer to full.
I am no longer bloodied.
And he's going to cast, Mass Cure Wounds as he separates you out from the part of the group that isn't hurt. And he's going to cast Healing Word to bolster Nalia further. And he's going to say, they say the Black Dragons are acid breathers, and these wounds seem consistent with that. You weren't out there playing with the dragon, were you?
We were fighting it. Trying to get it to leave.
Aye? Well, I saw it leave. Turned scale and fled.
Indeed.
And who are you?
We are the Order of the Sacred...
You don't say. There've been stories around about you.
All good, I hope.
No. All very difficult to believe. Wandering heroes, saving folk and whatnot. Not even taking any coin most of the time.
We do what we can.
That's the way my Lord Bahamut would want it.
Yeah, we go alright.
And he's going to just examine the rest of the group to make sure nobody's hurt. And he's going to stop at Raiken and kind of, seem to freeze, almost. Statuesque. Says, excuse me, lad. Your armor.
Yes, you've noticed my armor.
It's rather loud. Difficult not to notice. Could you tell me something about it? Where'd you get it?
I got it from Cord. I am the champion of Cord.
And he's going to make a holy sign in front of him of protection and say, not in 500 years did I imagine I'd be the one to see this. And, you've proof, that's it. What's your name?
Yes. I am Raiken of House Lumos.
Well, Raiken of House Lumos, they call me Stonefoot.
It is nice to meet you, Stonefoot.
It's because I'll kick your ass if you lie to me. But, if you speak true, you'll be wanting to head down to the temple, yonder, and he gestures over his shoulder to the west. Once they've lowered the barrier, that is. I think there'll be quite a number of people interested to know the story on this one.
Yes, I've been meaning to head to the Temple of... But
you were too busy playing with a dragon.
Yeah, the whole dragon kind of sidetracked my plans.
Indeed. Well, I think I've got a few other healings to do, but that's where you can find me once they've lowered the barrier, anyway. And he's kind of like gonna look around impatiently, and he's going to shout. And his voice is small in such a large crowd. You know, the dragon's already left. Can we go home yet?
Stone, who is basically next to him and hears this.
He is definitely facepalming. Just this big Goliath hand enveloping his forehead down to his brow. He's going to make one of the recognized signs of cord for you and say, "Don't forget, don't leave town before you've managed to tell the temple about it. People been searching their whole lives for that. Waiting, looking, hoping. It's very meaningful. Not to be taken lightly."
I will make sure to stop by and say hello to everyone.
Aye. Alright. Enough hugging it out. I've got work to do. And he's going to, stomp off into the crowd again, his chain clinking.
I'm gonna lean over to Laramandus. Because I can hear this conversation, yes?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
the guy, I didn't have an icon for him, but he was, like, right here.
Right, yeah. And also, these are two very loud people, so... I will lean over to Laramandus and quietly say, if it's not to be taken lightly, why would Cord choose Dad?
Just gonna scroll over here.
Yeah.
See what's going on with this guard. Hey, buddy, how's things with you?
Just fucking murdered him.
I am going to laugh.
He's already dead! Leave him alone!
It seems that he has proven himself well in the eyes of his god.
Yeah, it says a lot about Cord.
Okay, I'm gonna get some space from Vindar. I don't want to get, smoked.
Just lightning strike.
You might want to be careful with the blasphemy.
I didn't say it was bad. I just said it says a lot about Cord. Raiken is his champion.
Yeah, definitely gonna want at least a good 5, maybe 10-foot gap between me and Vindar.
I'm gonna try to stay as close to Cyrus as I can.
Don't you do it.
I want him to not notice either. I'm gonna roll stealth.
Good.
And I can't notice. My passive perception is 9. You can't possibly fail that.
Ooh, I got a 30.
So you just you see him like leering at you with this like really conniving grin as he kind of like leans forward just to peek around the bulk that is Raiken in front of him. And then he just sort of leans back, like disappearing behind Raiken, and then he's just gone.
And he's now somehow in that blind spot in the front of my face. I just can't see him. He's just not there.
Mm-hmm.
He's just casually sitting on the stoop in front of the Temple of Ione, waiting for you to notice him. And, at this point, you will notice that the guards have formed a perimeter around you, keeping the people away. And Stone is going to take his opportunity and step forward. And say, "What are sick wetlanders? Well, you put on quite the show out there, and it seems that the dragon has indeed left. Now then, the city of Tuka is of course indebted to you, and we will be wanting to have a full meeting with the council very shortly. But in the meantime, I will need you to surrender the items which you have borrowed from the armory so that we can return them until such a time as their disposition may be determined.
And I'm going to telepath so as not to cause disturbance. Give them back lightly, and we'll likely get them back after the meeting. But to cause a scene now, we're gonna have problems.
Yukikaze is gonna walk up to Stone
gun.
and gonna hand him Bleeder and then walk away.
Just give him,
do you tell him
this sword
going
that
to
is
happen?
like leaking blood. He like takes it from you and just the blood spill, like as you hand it at an angle, the blood comes spilling over the edge between the tsuba and the sheath, and
Yep,
it
and
runs down over his knuckles.
That is Demetrius, and for one, and for two, as I'm walking away, I'm gonna be. You guys see, it looks like Yukikaze is counting and using his fingers.
So if you don't immediately tell him what's going to happen, I do.
No, I'm just gonna hand it to him and walk away.
Okay. I informed Stone that that item has a curse on it, thus the always leaking blood, and will very shortly disappear from his hands and return to Yukikaze's hands until the attunement is broken.
Ruining my fun, Laramid, is I'm gonna say that telepathically. Really?
We would get in trouble.
The moment that you mention that it's a cursed item, he's going to turn very quickly to his left, and the guard is going to step up abruptly and offer his hand. He's going to place the sword in the man's hand, and he's going to stand at attention with it out. And you can see Stone, like, reaches into a pocket of his robe and pulls out a very fine handkerchief and squeezes the blood into it from his hand, you know, cleaning each finger.
The curse only impacts the attuned. Touching it will not have any residue or anything like that of the sword. It will impact you, and at that point, the sword disappears.
The guard is just like staring at his bloody, empty hand.
Do you want to know the funniest part? It looks like a different sword up until he hands it to Stone because of this guy's person. So it's like all of a sudden, blood.
Indeed. Yes, as you handed it to him, it looked like a curved scimitar with a etched blade, like the ridges of an enamel tooth. And as soon as he took it from you, it returned to its original form. The curved katana-style weapon with the black sheath, and began leaking blood on him. And so they are now standing there. The guard covered his hand covered in blood, blood on the street at his feet, and the sword vanishes and reappears on Yukikaze's belt. And Stone finishes squeegeeing his hand of the blood and folds his handkerchief very deliberately before returning it to a pocket, and says, "As I said, you will be expected to turn over these weapons until such time as their final disposition may be determined at the behest of the Council."
Final what?
Disposition.
Leah, are you capable of disattuning Yukikaze?
I could be silly and say, you know, I did what he asked, it's just I can't uncurse.
Yeah, okay, yes, I can. I'm gonna, but I need to be close to him.
Okay. You are aware that casting spells has been not a good thing around the guards.
Yeah, so I'm very wary.
Okay.
You can ask permission. And inform people what you're doing.
I can remove the curse so the item goes back. Am I allowed to do so?
And the guards are all going to turn to Stone as they had been approaching, ready to accept items. And Stone is going to stand there and fold his hands behind his back again, straightening himself into a more diplomatic posture. And say, you will remove the curse, and then you will turn the sword over to one of my guards.
Touch the Kase and use remove curse then.
The sword immediately stops bleeding. You are unable to feel its presence anymore. It is once again just a piece of metal waiting to be used.
I'm going to attempt to pat Hikaze on the back, but I mostly just reach his butt because
yeah, you're just kind of stroking his butt a little bit, but you know it's friendly.
It's okay, buddy.
I'm meant to reach higher.
A nice little squeeze.
No, just a pat.
No.
To the guard that is handed Bleeder, I will say, please be careful not to accidentally attune the item. Otherwise, you will not be able to rid yourself of the sword. Until another remove curse spell is cast.
No intention of using it myself, and he's going to take a step back with it.
Well, I did give it back to him completely bloody still. I didn't shake it off at all.
What includes the firearms that you took from the armory?
That one, was it obvious? Like, I can't remember. I was behind Raiken when he dropped it, so I did see it get dropped.
No, Raiken declared picking it up.
Yes, Raiken declared picking it up. It's also huge.
Yeah,
I think he's asking if it's obviously broken.
Oh, is it obviously broken? To the untrained eye, no, but you fixed it last time, so it might be something that you're looking for since you heard the clang of it drop.
Yeah, I'd probably try and see without, taking it or anything like that.
It looks like it might have been damaged in a way similar to the last time.
I'll say, I'll point to the Thunder Gun and say, that one is currently broken. Would you like me to fix it, or should we just hand it over as is?
We will disposition it, and then any repairs needed will be made by our artisans.
Clearly not intending to give it back. Stealer fucking shit.
Goodbye, Thunder Gun.
Is that out loud, Vendar?
No.
Okay.
Is that actively telepathed, or is it just thought?
It's actively telepathed, yes.
Okay.
I was gonna say, if that was out loud, I'm absolutely slapping my hand over his mouth.
How much,
Just to let you know, if
Raiken-
he doesn't give me my fucking gun back, I'm gonna steal it before we leave.
Raiken will give the thunder gun a single tear flowing.
The half giant is going to come and relieve you of it, and then move to Vendar. He doesn't seem to have any trouble lifting its massive body.
Your tear hits the Thunder Gun, and you hear the faintest sound of some mechanism just moving just a little bit in a way that doesn't sound right.
How dare. Your tear broke it worse.
how do I work it? How much attention was what's his name, Stone, paying when people took things off the cart?
I mean,
Like, is it
he and the guards, he and a couple guards were present when things were being removed, and you know that he said he had people examining the contents.
They had an inventory.
Because I took my staff off the cart.
What?
I took the staff off the cart.
The staff? The big wooden staff?
Yeah, the one that's like twice as big as me.
Yeah. Is it magic in any way? I'm pretty sure it's not.
No, it's just a piece of wood.
Big stick.
And so, like... guard will come to take it, and Stone says, "That one was not even magic. It's just a stick. Let him keep it."
As when someone approaches Javel, he kind of grips it a little bit tighter.
Like, squirrel runs out on top of it and, like, chitters at him from the end of the staff.
Yeah, you tell him.
At which he takes a step back, confused. What else did you have?
Hold on. You said that squirrel jittered.
Yeah.
Was it something rude?
Do you have something currently active that would let you know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, let's see.
Speak with animals?
Yeah, speak with animals.
Is that always active, or...?
Pretty much, yeah. During combat, no, because then I'm not gonna bother. But it says I can cast it at will without expending a spell slot, so I'm just...
So that is, I will say that is still casting a spell. Which you are aware is frowned upon in this society.
Yeah, you're right.
So it's just troubling here because you would have to actively cast a spell, even though it doesn't cost you a spell slot. Whatever the duration of that spell is, whether it's a minute or 10 minutes or an hour, it'd be like
I'm just used to us just letting things like that slide, but I forget that this is a non-spell town.
Yeah.
If you had previously been going to cast it, Laramendus would continuously remind you, like while we were just doing stuff in town, Laramendus would actively remind you not to do that.
Please don't.
Yeah.
So at this point, it probably would have been well drilled in.
Yeah, no, it's not active.
Alright, hold on. Somebody said they found something odd.
No, I just found it so odd that like a warlock can cast, speak with animals at will. If they set it up properly.
But a druid can't. Warlocks are weird, okay?
I don't think that invocation requires the Archfey Pact either.
I mean, I don't think any invocation requires any particular pact, does it?
At least outside, at least inside the player's handbook, I don't believe so. Outside the player's handbook, there are some.
Yeah, but
there are some that require like the Pact of the Chain, Pact of the Blade, but none of them are reliant on the subclass.
Right,
it doesn't matter who you get magic from.
So, it's just an invocation's an invocation. Yeah. Okay. So,
I don't believe I had anything from the cart.
It chitters, but because you don't have the invocation active, due to the situation.
Also, next time, Derek, can I answer the warlock questions?
Sorry. I like warlock.
Alright, so... the guns were retrieved, and Bleeder was retrieved. The staff was left with, Jebel.
There was the shield.
The shield, right. So the same person who would have taken the, sword would also have held out a hand expecting the shield from you, Yukikaze.
Yeah.
And the bow.
He's running out of arms!
Yeah. I reluctantly hand them back to him.
Isn't the bow mine?
No,
it's the strength bow.
Oh, the strength bow.
Yeah, the quiver is yours.
The quiver is yours, yes, that is correct. I gave her a
You gotta just get silly stripped of everything he owns.
Yes. It's like a swarm goes around him and he comes back and he's just fucking naked.
The guards are going to depart back in the direction of the cart. And Stone will take another step toward the group, and he, with his arms still folded behind his back, he will look over each of you very scrutinizingly. You can see his brow working, and he's very clearly trying to formulate his words. You're not entirely certain what's going through his head. I suppose you could roll insight to try and determine his emotions about it, though, if you wanted.
I get some number that is above 11, because that was the die roll. I get a 15.
Okay.
Yeah, my passive.
Why was my crit the fucking Arcana roll?
Because it had to be. Now you know everything about that question.
I know a lot about transmutation stones.
So, you said insight?
Yes, insight, because you're trying to kind of read his thoughts and emotions
Alright,
off his face.
I got 15.
Okay, so 2 15s. Anybody else?
I got a 14.
14.
Yeah, my passive is 14.
Okay. Now, the 15s have it in this case. The 14s, it's a look of consternation, so he's clearly thinking about some things. He's not entirely happy by whatever he's thinking about. The people with 15 get just a bit more, and you're able to determine that this consternation seems to come from the fact that he's battling with that he has to do something he doesn't want to do. That's what this looks like to you. So slightly more specific than what the 14's got. He doesn't appear to want to do something that he knows he has to. And after a moment standing before you in silence, the point is almost awkward. He's finally going to take a breath, and you'll notice that his eyes focus again on each of your faces, where they had been somewhat distant for a moment. He says, I would like to personally thank you for cooperating with me and with the city of Tuka. We would not still be here without the efforts of your group to drive off the dragons. And as such, I will be speaking personally with the council to inform them of our interactions and your cooperation. We will send a messenger for you when the council is ready to speak.
Thank you for speaking on our behalf.
And his eyes are gonna fall on you, and again, he's still stony-faced. He doesn't smile. But there's something other than just complete distaste there. And he says, we will be lowering the barrier soon. We will wait for word from our lookouts to know that the dragons are fully out of sight. So expect that in perhaps the next 15 minutes.
Alright. Can't heal, but I can make walls of stone if there's a way I can use it to either help with making temporary shelter or trying to repair some buildings.
I will send a couple of guards over here. They will know how it is you wish to assist. When the barrier is lowered, they will have instructions for you. If you follow their instructions, it will look good for you, favorable in behalf of in the eyes of the council.
I will do my best.
Speaking of which, I could also help regrow certain areas if we need some sort of like regrown park or flower patch.
I will inform the guards of how it is you may help, and if they have instructions for you and you follow them, it will be to your credit in the coming discussion. This is all Stone can promise you at this time.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your efforts in protecting my home. And he's going to, you're actually going to see him march over to the Shrine of Varathus and disappear inside. And as promised,
Don't like that guy.
As promised, about 10 minutes later, you are going to hear a voice boom, and its origin appears to be the Temple of Varathus, but you don't see anything. And it seems to announce to the crowd that the danger appears to have passed for the time being, and the barrier will be lowered. It is not recommended to return to any building that has been damaged in the attack, and that any repairs will be seen to in the order of, highest priority will be assigned by, like how critical a building is to the function of the city. And after a moment, you see that the shrine glow with a pale blue light in the day, and it almost feels like the air becomes less heavy around you, and the crowd begins to spread out to move away from this central area. And at this point, as things finally seem to release their tension and gain some breathing room, Nalia is going to, you'll see that she just sort of, without saying anything, turns her head toward the Temple of Ione and moves around Lair without releasing him and begins to move toward the Temple of Ione. Are you going to let her drag you?
Yes.
Okay. What does the rest of the party want to do? Do they want to see what's up with Nalia, or is there some other goal you have now that it appears that the barrier has been removed?
I wait here in case of orders.
Okay.
I'm following Nalia.
Okay.
Raiken, if the barrier is open, the Temple of Cord.
Uh-huh.
Just sit over to the Temple of Cord.
Yep. Mosey on over.
That's not hoofing it.
No, he's just moseying.
Those are very different.
He's just moseying.
Alright, so Cyrus wishes to stay here and await orders. Vendor? Desire?
Still looking around Cyrus, waiting to get...
Let him answer.
Yeah, I'm still following Cyrus.
Oh gosh. Yuki. Raiken has headed down the middle of the road through the thinning crowd to the west. Your other companions, led by Nalia, went back into the Temple of Ione, and Cyrus seems to be doing his best to wait quietly over here in I assume you've assumed a posture that indicates you're waiting to hear from someone.
Yep.
So you're looking around and kind of sometimes imitating the at-attention stance of the guards to try and, project that air.
I suppose.
I'm not quite sure what I want to do. I'm sorry. I guess I'll just proceed to Ione also.
Okay.
If we still have the telepath up, I'll say to Lara Mendes, if you can, you might want to see about finishing off your session with the knowledge room.
I'm not positive that the clerics will be in a state to receive that information now with the chaos around healing, but I will inquire.
I expect as much. That's why I said if it's possible.
And Jebel?
I'm just going to ask, does anyone know what's his name? Is it Rusty or Dusty?
Rusty. I think now it's Dusty. It's all Dusty. Yeah.
Does anyone know where Dusty is?
You have not seen him in the crowd so far.
I'm gonna go look for Dusty. I'm going to let everyone know.
Okay. Where are you going to start your search?
Where last place we saw him was
the Sentinel's actual headquarters.
And that was
over in the northeast of the city.
I'm going to. Wait, he was. Oh yeah, I'm going to go up and ask. Find the closest guard to say where Dusty is.
Okay, we'll start with that. I need a guard token. Oh, there's a guard token.
Are you Dusty? He's like, well, I mean, there's been a lot of people moving about. This wasn't. I mean, this is an open street. There was dust there, so I mean, yes, I am.
This half-giant is helping to direct people and making sure that, like, scuffles and fights don't break out as all of these people who are crammed in close to each other are trying to disperse back to where they go. And you come up behind him and tug on part of his armor and you say, "Excuse me, do you know where Dusty is?" And he turns around and looks around and looks down, finding you, and he kind of like gets down on one knee to be close to you and says,
then lies down.
Lies down?
He's down on one knee. He's probably still towering above me.
Well, yeah. But he's close enough to hear you and interact in a way that isn't likely to get interrupted or be lost in the distance between you. And he says, "What's that you say? I didn't catch that."
I'm looking for Dusty.
Oh, Dusty. Dusty. Do you know more to the name than that?
Telepath. Does anyone know anything else about Dusty? Like, is that the only name he gave us?
That's all that I know. You can physically describe him.
Who's the other
Mention
guy?
that he is a guard.
Dusty was not wearing guard's armor when you met
wasn't?
him.
I thought he was.
No.
So he mentioned that the other members.
Oh, that he worked with the guards.
Well, no, that other members of the Platinum Sentinels.
Yes.
He had said that several members of the Platinum Sentinels in the city were part of the city, were actual members of the city guard, which made it easy to perform their operations within the city.
What's the name of the other one? Was it Rock?
Crunch.
And then I'll say, how about Crunch?
Oh, Crunch, I believe, is somewhat around here, actually. He was supposed to be gathering people from out in the east, but he came back right quick. Someone hurt, missing a leg, I think it was.
Yeah. That guy's better anyway.
Aye, that's good to hear.
I'll telepath to the group. What's his face? Cyrus was healed in the temple there. That's where he got his...
Yep, got my leg back in there.
Yeah, so I'll just say, do you guys see Crunch in there?
You guys do not see Crunch inside the Temple of Ione, no.
Not currently, but I suppose he might be amongst the stacks.
And just because there was no way I was going to try and load that many tokens, I do want there to be an understanding that, like, this area that was within the dome was packed with literally thousands of people. And there were guards, like, dozens, if not hundreds of guards interspersed throughout them trying to keep the peace. Like, this is... It's not like an empty square with just you and this guard. You are surrounded by people, and there are guards all over the place trying to help direct things currently. He was just the closest one. Like, it is a mess of people. Like, trying to find anyone. This is a needle in a stack of needles.
We can keep an eye out for him, but I'm not sure we'll be able to find him until things calm down.
Where was the last place you saw your friend Dusty?
I kind of point in a vague direction.
Was it inside the barrier?
No.
Do you know if perhaps he got inside the barrier?
No.
Are you concerned that perhaps he did not get inside the barrier?
I am now.
Would you... Do you need an escort to go to the last place you saw him?
No, I suppose we'll wait until things calm down a bit. I'm gonna check the temple. I think that's the last place I saw Crunch. So I'm gonna say, well, thanks anyway. And then I turn and head back towards the temple.
He's just sort of like scratching his head as he watches you go.
It's just like Dusty.
The heck's a Dusty?
I know a few Dusties.
I know some dusty old men.
I know a Dusto.
Dustopides.
Dustin.
I think I want to deal with Raiken last, because I think that's going to be bigger.
That is the most boring.
So, you do find that you're led back through the stacks, back to that same set of tables where you went to find Naravar, originally, where you retrieved the armor of Bahamut. And there you do find Kalimdar. He is seated at one of the tables, and he is leafing through a rather thick tome there. And as he hears you coming, he looks up and says, "Oh, Professor, you're back."
Yes, the dragon has departed for now.
I had heard the news. That seems quite good. And do you know what your plans are moving forward?
In the nearest term, there will be discussions between us and the council around what has happened and information that we might be able to conjecture, given what we know.
Professor, is Nali all right?
How is she still in a similar state?
She seems perhaps slightly more lucid or scrutinizing of her surroundings, but she still seems rather out of it.
She was in the line of fire, and I believe it will be best to get her farther from the chaos that we might be able to see what's going on. Possibly go talk to a cleric.
You're gonna see him visibly pale at these words. He's gonna say, "She wasn't supposed to be put in danger, Professor." Is there something I can do? Something I can fetch? Do you need anything?
Can I make a history check to see if there's anything that I can think of about the state that she's in that I can send him off to go and fetch?
You may make a history check.
I'm dealing with somebody who's in shock or something. I don't have medical training.
It's true. You may make a history check.
Oh, that is a 26.
Okay. You have a long history with her. And you do recognize this Catatonia. The way she's acting is reminiscent of other times she's come into contact with unexpected information. And the way that she is behaving seems to indicate, as it did in past times, that she is trying to create space to process, and one of her means of processing is to talk it out, so she might be looking for a quiet place to speak. And you know that she isn't one for an audience.
I believe I will go and... Actually, if you could find me one of the clerics so that we could find a quiet room to bring her to, that would be most kind of you.
Of course, Professor. I'll get right on it. And he is going to excuse himself. Man, right next to my window? Really?
They're coming for you.
This was an ambulance.
Yeah, they know.
They know.
At this point, Naravar, who's been paying a bit of attention, is going to look around, and he's going to kind of like stand on his tiptoes and put a hand to his mouth and go, cheep, 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 cheep. And you're going to actually hear a response that sounds dejected. And after a few seconds, you're going to hear the rustle of feathers, and a golden ball is just going to land on his shoulders. And Cal is going to wrap his wings around Naravar's head and say, "I couldn't see you from here. What if you had died?" Then Cal would have died. Naravar, muffled by the wings wrapped around his head, says, "No, I think it was quite alright, Cal. I don't think that there was really any risk in this one. She could do very little, actually." Recognize platitudes when you hear them. And Cal's going to release his death grip from the Eladrin's face and resettle himself under the cloak. And Naravar's going to kind of look around the group, and you can kind of see as he's reading the room, he's like, "I think I've left a book elsewhere, actually. I'd better go find it. Wouldn't want to leave it in this dimension, you know."
I will acknowledge that he is leaving, but I assume he's not looking at us when he goes away. So
yes. And at this point, Nali is kind of going to... You're going to feel as her legs go out from under her.
I don't think I have the strength for that.
But she dead weights. It's what you do all the time.
Do I need to make a roll?
Oh, yeah.
I think I might use a point of inspiration.
Oh my gosh.
Because that's a roleplay roll I don't want to fail. That's a 12.
Can I give him my inspiration?
He's used inspiration.
That was with the inspiration.
Yep.
Otherwise, it would have been a 6.
Nice. Well,
assuming this is just a straight up strength check.
Yes, a 6 would not have been enough. You would have gone down. However, with a 12, you are able to redirect and catch the... You are standing among the reading tables here, so you are able to like catch her and cause her, redirect her fall onto you into a chair that's sort of half turned. You feel your body get pinched between the angled chair and the table. It's very uncomfortable, but you have prevented the worse injury. And finally, she's just going to say, That was completely insane, Blair.
Which bit?
Blair, that was a founding force. And I called it to us. She holds up her hands in front of you. One of them still clenched into a loose fist, and you can see them visibly trembling. Look at my hands. Huh?
I was asking the voice of the guy.
You're not in the scene.
I am aware, but this question still matters. Does she happen to be accidentally telepathing any of this? I'm not looking to respond. I just want to know if I'm aware.
No, she is speaking out loud.
All right.
I rolled very poorly on my insight when she said that she brought this about. So I'm going to be like, this had nothing to do with your work. I mean, there were kobolds and other such creatures that were...
I called her out from the temple. Huh.
You what?
Wait.
We could have died. It was completely insane.
The barrier would...
I'm a researcher, Lair. Claire would have reminded me not to enter the battlefield. I need Claire. Summon her for me.
Is she in the city?
Of course she's in the city. She's tending to my things in Volinar.
I will see what I can do to get her here. Or do you still need her tending things there? Is there some pretense that she's keeping up?
She's not here. Sorry. My thoughts are all scattered. She's not here. She's in Volinar.
Would you like to speak with her?
No, we mustn't trouble her. Honestly, we should probably return there soon. A ruse won't last much longer. I'm sorry. I'm sorry there. I lost my composure a bit. I just need to breathe for a moment. We challenged one of the children of Tiamat.
Yes. But we were able to keep ourselves safe while doing so. Mostly safe.
We weren't safe at all. We could have died, Lair. She almost killed us.
I suppose that first acid blast was unexpected. I was hoping that it would take her a bit longer to regain the ability, but we could have moved back behind the barrier itself. There are spells that we could have slung from that side, and
Hindsight is gonna help us now, Lar.
I didn't catch the beginning of that. Out of character.
Oh, as a hindsight.
Oh.
I'm gonna. She's still sitting, I assume.
Yeah, she's sitting on top of Laramentis as he's awkwardly scrunched into this chair that is not pulled out far enough from the table to be comfortably sat in.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's because I rolled a 12.
Yeah.
That's the roll to crit on.
Might have been.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk past Laramentis and try to give her a hug.
I suppose it's more accurate to just put her right there.
Yeah, there's some of me around the edges, and
so you're going to circle around in front of the chair and sort of slowly move in to try and embrace her. And you can see that there is panic in her eyes as you begin to reach for her. Not caused by you. It was there when you went to look. And she's holding her hands before her, fingers working in and out somewhat, but more importantly, they're just trembling heavily. She says, There's at least 4 of them. And as you reach out and make contact with her, she's gonna kind of gasp at the first touch and then look down and seem to actually notice you're there for the first time. She's gonna say, "You." And she's going to put one of her trembling hands to her chest. "You gave me this. Thank you." And she's going to reach her other trembling hand forward and place it on your shoulder, and you can feel the vibration in her muscles transfer into you as she sort of pulls you in for the hug you'd been offering. And she's going to cling onto you tightly with both hands to the point that it's almost painful. I am a researcher. I can't fight these things there. You have effectively become a teddy bear for her to squeeze now.
Yeah.
She's just sort of like talking into your hair.
you will not fight these things. We are going to find the other pieces of the armor while you study its mechanisms and see what we can figure out and put the information about the creation of magical items that Nerevar has explained to good use. And we will have a much better shot of things than we did today.
Yes. That's sensible. But once we have it, they could threaten everything there. We're not talking about 1 city or 2 cities or 5 cities.
Which is why we will stop them.
That could require action from me. I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
You don't know how to fight.
If I don't fight, you could lose. And if I lose you, then there's nothing to fight for.
We won't lose. I'm doing my. I can make a charisma check if you want me to.
You're gonna
try
need
and sound
to.
confident. I used my point of inspiration
You
already.
did. It's gone. But it was worth it. You managed not to just.
That is a crit. Fuck yeah. Okay. I sound too confident.
Way too confident. Given everything. You really think it'll be enough? We could do it?
With the research that you can do, and you will have the time to do, no other... These dragons have been fought before, equipped against people who were much poorer equipped than we will be because of what you're going to do. They don't stand a chance, honestly.
Yeah. We'll make more. More of the armor. That could work.
This die gets a place of honor.
That could work. If I'm... If I'm going to do that research lair, I need my lab back. We have to settle this thing with Sivan, once and for all.
If we don't, the dragons will.
I believe that going in that direction is the most likely to be where we can more easily find the other pieces of the armor anyway, and so it's a logical place to go.
She is, like, actually struggling to control her breathing. We should portal back as soon as we're able. Claire's going to be having her hands full in my absence, trying to keep anyone there from finding out that I am away. Sweet girl. We should relieve her of that duty as soon as we can. And then I can begin studying the armor in earnest. It'll be enough. It'll be enough. It will.
It will.
It will. She's like, at this point, she's like running her fingers through your hair, like straightening out tangles and things. It's all, she's just completely like lost sight of the fact that you're anything other than like a comfort item at this point.
Oh yeah.
I mean Leah. I'm talking about Leah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's stuck. She will forever be stuck.
Yep. She have realized that at this point. Right now she's just letting it happen. There's no point in trying to fight it.
You're going to hear a whisper in your ear as Lorelei goes, "Has she always been this crazy?"
I'm going to answer her telepathically.
I can stab her if you need to escape.
This is a different kind of crazy than what I'm used to. But it's fine. She just need the comfort.
Okay.
Is she still in summer?
But Yes.
Okay.
But I can stab her if you need to escape.
Don't. But you can read their motives, right? Or like her heart.
You want me to read her heart right now?
Yeah, at least it will let you know if she only means good intentions.
I need to look up what Malia has to roll.
I believe it's a charisma save.
It's a something save. It's either wisdom or charisma.
Yeah, charisma. I have it. It's charisma.
Okay. Alright, Malia, what's your charisma save? Nice.
That's real good.
She nat 20'd it.
Her heart is a jumble of emotions. Unreadable.
The sprite, you're kind of like locked into this, so you haven't been able to see the sprite, but you did feel her depart your ear, and then a few moments later return, and she said, "Her heart is a sea at storm right now. I can't get a read on it at all. So I would like to return to the stabbing option."
Yeah, I'm reading up on hard side now. It says that a DC is for the alignment. That's it. It says that the sprite touches a creature and magically knows the creature's current emotional state. If the target fails a DC 10 charisma saving throw, the sprite also knows the creature's alignment. So either way, you will probably know their emotional state. But I mean, that's not really something you need to. Touch her to know at this point.
Like you said, a sea and storm.
Yeah, I mean that's visible for everyone.
Yeah. She's, oh, what was the human expression that Zin taught me? Wearing her heart on her sleeve at the moment? I think that's right.
Sounds weird, but I think I know what you mean.
I mean, it sounds disgusting. Hearts are full of blood. You do not want them on your sleeve.
I think the expression's wearing your appendix on your sleeve.
That would be hard for you to do.
So, it would be
I'll just
easier.
borrow yours.
It's already been removed. You can put it on his sleeve with a pin. Alright. She's going to, over time, recoup her emotional state and regain control of her emotions. But you know that the maintained summer state is a reflection of how strongly she's feeling the emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much whether they're positive or negative.
Yeah.
And knowing her as long as you have, you know that this is probably one of her more unhealthy coping mechanisms, where she puts herself into summer to try and beat down emotions that she doesn't want to deal with.
Just burn them away in the heat of the summer sun.
Yeah.
And then all is well. God damn it.
Basically. But,
oh yeah, it's fine. It's very healthy.
she's rough now, but you've seen a similar emotional state for her once or twice in your time knowing her, so you know that she needs to go through this, that she just needs to talk it out and burn the emotion off in summer.
It's like letting a fever run its course.
Kind of. Though infinitely less healthy from a mental standpoint.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. She's fine. This is fine.
Okay. I've probably milked that scene for all the emotion it's worth. Unless you have more to say.
No, I think that's probably
Yeah.
a reasonable set of... Unless somebody else wanted to mention something directly to her.
I had.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say, it's fine. I know it's like the first time you get in battle, it's rough, but you'll get over it.
And she runs through a few other things, but as she starts to calm, she seems to return to this thought later, like circles back to it. And she says, it's not my first time in battle. Just my first time against a founding force.
It's been a rough day for all of us. I recently found out the guys I thought was dead was still alive. The guys I up until a week ago didn't remember. We all have our demons.
And yours was a real demon, wasn't it?
It still is.
Her grip loosens, since we're continuing on this a moment. She's going to lay her hands on your shoulders and say, who are these men you forgot until just recently?
The men with the blue hands?
The ghosts.
Yeah. Though they're way more real than that.
They were supposed to be ghosts.
Well, these two are dead now.
Are you sure?
The dragon made sure of it.
That's lucky. I want to know more about this, Leah. Would you discuss it with me when I'm in a better state of mind to absorb the information?
Once I feel the same way. Right now I'm still trying to cope with the memories.
I'm sorry. Are you okay? I didn't mean to use you just now. I didn't realize.
It's fine, I needed it as well. I'll be okay.
You've had a great deal of trauma for such a young person, haven't you?
I guess.
And she's going to release your shoulder with her left hand, and she's going to like jam her hand between the table and chair and like pat Lara's eyes and say, "Let me up a moment, Lara. I think I can stand."
I help her up and all of that.
And
slash move enough out of the way that she can get off of me.
No, she definitely needed your help propelling the two of you to a standing position. She kind of teeters for a second, returning her hand to Leah's shoulder, looking momentarily unsteady before allowing herself to fall into a seated position on the floor, her legs folding beneath her, and she looks up into Leah's eyes, with her hands still on her shoulders. Says, sorry. I treated you poorly. I never imagined we'd be so much... that we might have such to discuss.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sit down on the ground next to her. I guess I'm just gonna stay quiet.
And she's going to, kind of offer her arms for another embrace. Say,
Yeah. And go on.
I'm so sorry. She's, not so much gripping you like a doll anymore as, actually hugging to try and comfort you rather than herself. But you can feel that she is also comforted by it.
I know that feeling. So, yeah.
Okay. I think that was meaningful. I think we can move from there. Yes?
Yukikaze is just lurking in the background.
Yukikaze is just like standing up against one of the stacks of books going,
His eyes are just wide open as he sees all this.
His back. No, his back is to it. He's acting like he's looking at the books and going through them.
Was most of that conversation in Elvish or Common?
Oh, I know Elvish, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know. But Leah, I don't think, does know a lot of it.
That's always a hilarious thing to forget. I think for argument's sake it will have to have been in Common, even though it is a fair point that she likely would have spoken to you in Elvish, since she would have considered it confiding.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yukikaze just like in the background pretending to read books. They're talking, and then like by the time they're all done, you just hear Yukikaze whistling.
The book's upside down.
Lara Mendes, the book's upside down, just sweat pouring down his back.
There's a cleric who's looking over Yukikaze's shoulder at the upside down book, like very intently.
What does he know that I don't? Reveal to me your secrets.
In the writing.
Some cipher we've hitherto unknown.
He does actually figure one out.
So, while everybody over there is having feels, you're over here feeling punches, I'm guessing.
I mean, I could be giving punches.
As you move away from the group and down the street to the west to go to the Temple of Cord, as was indicated to you by Stonefoot, you're going to be passing by a swath of the city that is heavily damaged by the acid. Buildings on both sides of the road itself. You find you have to pick your way carefully over melted flagstones, lest you trip or lose your footing. And as you approach this massive walled-in temple, you will find that here and again, all around it, are sections of the wall that have been splashed or sprayed with acid and been damaged by it, either giving way entirely to an opening, or having the surface and the beautiful stonework there, whether it be sculpted imagery or mosaic or simple color patterns, as it varies as the wall progresses around the temple, are damaged, if not completely destroyed. It is a difficult sight to behold. to see such damage having come to the Temple of Cord, which presents itself simultaneously as a dojo, a place to train, and a fortress. And you come to the front gates, which stand open as the left door is pushed in slightly, and the right door, the right gate, is melted up to halfway back to the hinges. So there is no way that these could close and seal. They will need to be fully replaced. Pushing your way inside through the opening, you find this wide training ground before you. I should call it more of a parade ground, and it serves also as a bivouac, a place for pilgrims of Cord to set up tents and sleeping arrangements, and you can see that even within here, several of the tents are melted through, and there are people still being treated by clerics of Cord, many having suffered very bad acid burns. Would you have kept the armor on this entire time?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead then.
Raiken will just go to kind of like the first, I guess, area of like people being treated, and
like over
he
in
will
this corner.
Help as well.
Okay, so select how many points you wish to expend.
Well, he's going to use cure wounds.
Okay.
Like I'll say 3 times.
Okay, so
and
3
then,
first level cure wounds.
Yeah, and then he'll do another 15 points of lay on hands.
Okay, and are the 15 points going to be like 5 points each of 3 people, or just blast one guy with 15?
Multiple people.
Okay, so we'll say that you go around and help out by casting cure wounds and using your lay on hands on about 6 different people, since that's what you have the resources for.
Mm-hmm.
And as you come in and do this, the clerics will notice as you glow with the light of Cord and heal these people who have been injured. Some of them pilgrims, some of them effectively refugees, travelers or sailors or city folk who have sought refuge within the walls of the temple, unfortunately betrayed by the fact that the dragon flew over them. And they will see you doing this, and as you finish, eventually, one of them will approach. He seems to be he is a half-orc, and he is wearing plate armor. Trying to make sure that was a sound that came through my ceiling and not somebody pounding on my door. Wearing plate armor, and on the pauldron at his shoulders, and on the backs of his gauntlets, he bears the symbol of Cord, proudly announcing his affiliation. And he's going to look you up and down as you perform your last lay on hands. And, with his tusky grin, he's going to say, "Well, I don't know you. Where do you come from, fighter?"
I come from a long, far away, and the seat of Bahamut in Arcosia.
I could have guessed that, then, Dragonborn being that you are. Well, I thank you for the help, but I must say I can't help but notice that your attire is somewhat specific.
Yes, it's a special armor. You may have seen it and heard about in legends. This is the armor of Cord that all of us have sought all these years.
Aye. It does fit all the descriptions I've read and the stories I've been told and the adventurers talking. But, as we both know, it's been missing for 500 years. Rather hard to believe it would just waltz in one day, especially on some city slicker from the west.
Well, how may I prove this to you then?
I think you know the answer to that.
Yes, I do. Let's get to it then.
And he's going to grin broadly at you. You can see that one of his tusks is broken off and flattened at the top. I don't want to use that token. I just want to use a token, any token. I don't have any half-orc tokens in this folder right now. Oh well. Sorry, Snotbar. I'm going to borrow you. And he's totally a half-orc and not Cinemaru.
Okay. That's fine. He's a very strong half-orc.
Indeed. As he walks you toward the large building here, he's gonna say, "They call me Kurag."
Oh, nice to meet you, Kurag. I am Raiken. House Lumos.
Raiken of House Lumos, is it? Well, if what you're telling me is true about the armor of Cord, then I think that's going to be a very famous name here soon.
We shall see.
Indeed. Let's find out who gets to go first in this punch fest. He got a 17.
I have a 13.
He gets to punch first. So, as you enter the ring, you're going to unsheath you're gonna draw your axe and fasten your shield to your arm, I assume.
Yes. I mean, if we're dealing with weapons, yes.
He's going to pull a large two-handed mace from his belt.
Then that's fine. Yes, I'll do the axe.
There'll be healing to be done, but we know the rules.
Of course, for the honor of Cord.
For the honor of Cord. Blood may be shed, but lives will not be lost. And so, I need my character sheet. Character sheet. Character. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Why did that happen? Okay, here we go.
I'm a little afraid I'm gonna suck.
May the dice be ever in your favor. Just gotta roll a crit.
Oh, just. I mean, that's simple.
I mean, you'll have to give up the armor if you do lose.
Them's the
That's
rules.
clearly the true champion.
Alright, let's trade armors.
Fine, I guess it's yours.
Didn't know you were playing for Pink Slip.
We fight for pinks.
Fight for pinks? What does that mean?
Pink slips.
You get fired?
No,
it's
that's...
when you're racing it. If you lose, you give them your car.
That's really not a good idea. That's many thousands of dollars worth of losing.
Yep.
Well, people have done that.
Yikes. And yikes again. And yikes a third time. Sorry, I grabbed my, cleric, what am I trying to say? Character sheet, and, realized he's not the right level, so I just have to adjust it. Just have to adjust it a moment.
Justin.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
But why, though?
But why what?
Oh, because a registration slip is pink?
The copy that you get is, yes.
Okay, that's why it's that. Okay, I was like, why is it that?
Yeah, it makes sense, honestly, because the carbon copy is pink.
Yeah.
And you keep the carbon copy. Okay. So he's going to raise his mace and repeat, "For the honor of Cord, as he intended it," and he's going to strike forward in a two-handed overhead blow. For which he got, an 8.
That
he's
will
going to
swing right into the wall.
He's going to swing a second time. And this time he got an 18.
That will still not hit.
Alright, so you parry his blows off of your shield. As he tries to move about you. Bringing this massive cudgel of a weapon down two-handed. And you can see his armor shifting as the muscles of his arms and torso bulge beneath them as he's putting his whole body into these strikes. You begin to circle each other in the ring. And you can see as the bout begins, as you shouted your praises to Cord, others in the temple who were sparring or meditating or resting or being healed even begin to gather. A crowd begins to gather around, and just in case it was unclear, that's what each of these is a sparring pit. Each of these circles.
That makes sense.
Somebody shouts about the pain that they're in, and you hear somebody else like shush them.
What's going on?
I need to see the scores.
I need to see the scores. This man has been poisoned. Claude. I need to see the scores.
He's dying.
I'll get there.
There are plates scattered about that scrying is cast from.
That's great. Just in case the crowd gets too big, they're just like, here, just watch it on this.
It's a sports bar now.
The action is live. And so as you deflect both of his heavy overhand blows, he's going to nod his appreciation and say, well, at least you're a competent fighter. Let's see what the armor can do. Your turn.
Alright. As they circle, Raiken will...
Climax song.
He just obliterates the temple.
Raiken will look for an opening, and as he attacks, he will yell, "The day is mine!" And he got a 17.
Okay. And people kind of like look back and forth at each other. The day's mine. With a 17, because he's wearing plate armor, he has 18 AC, so that is going to glance off as he steps sideways and allows it to follow the curve of the center of the breastplate and be redirected toward the ground.
Oh, very nice. Can you take this? And he will, because it's the same exact number.
You know what? No, F it. Have inspiration. Take mine. Do this. Beat this man.
I have inspiration.
Then use yours and take mine. Beat this man.
You know, I'll use my inspiration. And I got worse!
Well, you can still have mine. Because I want you to beat this guy.
Well, we'll go for the next round.
It got worse.
You swing and just barely miss, and then go to like adjust your swing so you'd get like get him on a backswing or something, and you just miss worse.
Just he spins around. I spin around.
He dips and ducks underneath it. You move well too, but I still haven't seen the armor at work. And he's going to cast a spell at disadvantage because you're directly next to him. Yeah.
Guiding bolt.
And that is definitely a miss.
Okay.
You're going to see like this crackling ring of lightning appear above you, and this holy light begins to pour out of it, and you dodge to the side. Although, wait a minute, I think I've done something wrong.
Is it a save?
I think it is, actually, now that I think about it. I'm looking at the description. Hold on. Spear. This one. Oh yeah, it is. It's a dex save.
Sweet.
My bad, so I didn't need to roll that. It doesn't matter that he has to
I
cast it
have
at
to
disadvantage. You have to roll. Dex save.
Oh, not the deck save.
This is a flame-like radiance descends on a creature.
17.
What? 17?
17.
17. Wow. Okay. You exactly make the DC. So, as I described, this crackling ring of lightning opens above your head like a halo, and flame-like radiance pours forth from it, and you tumble to the side out of the way as it scorches the sand next to you. Where you stood.
There is now a little bit of glass.
It's a fulgurite, Sam. Lightning did it. Not bad. Not bad at all. Because it's a spell, he only gets to do the one, so, your turn.
Okay. I will... Hold on, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the armor stuff.
Mm-hmm. I figured you were trying to select something that would be good to show off.
Climax song. Climax song.
This is the moment.
Yes.
I am going to...
Well, he died, so it must have been the armor.
I will use my action to channel Cord's lightning into my body.
Okay.
He tried to zap you with Cord's lightning, and you dodged it, so then you zapped yourself with it.
Yeah, you dodged it, and suddenly a black cloud forms over your head, and 6 lightning bolts, one after the other, arc down into the armor, and you can visibly see the electricity crackling off of it, arcing out into the air around you.
The dude looks at his hands, confused.
A look of wild excitement passes over his face, actually.
I dare you to hit me.
A follower of Cord could never pass up a challenge like that.
You're gonna let him hit you? Can you let someone hit you? I think you can.
I think you can. If you choose to forego your AC bonus, it can just hit you. Okay.
Raiken will allow this.
Okay. Alright. So he's going to hit you, which means he's going to deal damage, and then you'll tell me how much damage you deal back. He's going to swing twice. I need to... this page. Features. Make sure I'm doing this one right. There it is.
Do you let both of them hit you, or just the first one? Out of curiosity.
I was just gonna let the first one hit me.
Chicken.
Alright, so he is going to do that. Going to get to do that. And at this level...
I mean, actually, you know what? I'll let both hit me, but only one will be affected. The first one's gonna be affected.
Oh, neat. Okay. So... he does not crit, but you're allowing him to hit. And he does not crit, but you're allowing him to hit. Alright. Interesting. Okay. So, he attacks. It is going to deal... That was unfortunate. 14 points of non-magical bludgeoning damage. And the second hit is 19 points of non-magical bludgeoning damage. Ooh. And you feel, like, oomph behind these as he's got both hands on the hilt of this weapon. As he brings it down, you feel that transfer of force into your chest as he strikes you. With each one, and each time, lightning crackles up the weapon into him. What's the damage?
So I did it just on one attack, so all 6.
Okay,
so that is...
Oh, okay.
16 points of lightning damage. I minimized on life.
Okay.
6 die.
And so he's going to club you in the chest, and you notice this one. He like I said, he put some power behind this, and the lightning crackles down his weapon, and you see him, his arms spread wide as his muscles contort with the electricity flowing through them. And he fights against it and brings the blow down again, and the lightning puffs out from your armor as all of it was expended on the first blow. And he's going to, as the weapon careens off the front of your armor from the second hit, you're going to hear it hit the sand, and he's going. He's gonna, like, let go of the weapon as it just sticks out of the sand of the training ground. It's still somewhat crackling with a little bit of lightning. He's going to look at his hands. You're going to see these raw burns on the palms. He goes, that was a good trick. It was Cord's lightning. And he makes a protective sign of Cord before him, and he says, I never thought I'd see it with my own eyes. And he's going to kind of take an unsteady step away and reach for his weapon with his offhand, and you're going to see the electricity arc from the hilt to his fingers, and he pulls it back reflexively, and then grabs it and pulls it from the ground and holds it above his head. He says, listen up, everybody! We have the champion of Cord before us. I want every one of you to learn the name Raiken of House Lumos. He wears the armor of our god and deserves our respect. And there's going to be a moment of stunned silence as they're still recovering from seeing this flash of lightning that you hit their half-orc Gurag with. And then very quickly the place is just going to explode in cheers. Like, even, like, the still wounded people out at the outer walls who are wearing the colors of Cord are going to be applauding. Yes! Yes! You can see tears streaming down people's face.
Raiken will raise his battle axe and
roar.
And the cheering rises with you as you make this gesture. The applause holding out, and you're going to hear Kurag cackling from next to you. Man. This suddenly became a much better day than I anticipated, boy.
There's still much work to be done.
Oh, you're telling me. Every one of these people is gonna want to fight you.
Bring them on!
He's going to, like, quickly step out of the ring. Like, the champion is accepting challengers!
Well, he's gonna be busy.
Yes,
Are you not entertained?
Oh, no. They are. He is now sitting down, his weapon is laid across the ground in front of him, and he is looking on with a greedy expression. He is enjoying every moment of this. You will spend a good hour sparring with people, each of the bouts, lasting 30 seconds to a minute, as you exchange blows back and forth before you use one of the features of your armor to show it off, the grappling, all of this. And finally, the crowd, while not satisfied, can see that you are wearing down. Like, you should adjust your health to about 25%. And you will have no spell slots left, if you had any to begin with.
I did, but they're gone now.
And at least one of the armor's daily abilities is used. One other than what you just used.
I figured as much.
Yeah. I mean,
I'd need some rests.
You've just fought, like, 80 people, and I'm just, like, in a conga line. You're just like, bring him on! I can keep going!
I got this!
You're still standing there, like, calling on challengers, and Kurag reappears in the ring with you, and you feel his hand on your shoulder, this thick, muscled grip over the pauldron of your armor. He's gonna say, "You've done good, boy. You've restored a lot of faith here, especially in such a dire moment. But I think you'd better rest." And for the first time in the hour, you really feel the fatigue actually hit you. You realize, wow, I've been going a while. And the people outside the ring are still cheering and jeering and trying to get your attention to challenge you. And Kurag, without removing his hand from his shoulder, raises his other hand and says, all right, you animals. There'll be more of the champion tomorrow. So you all better rest up and prepare. That goes double for you, son.
I'll be ready.
I am certain you will. You're eating with me tonight.
Good. You were the best challenger, in my opinion.
Don't patronize me, lad. I'm beyond my years. But it is an honor to hear that from one chosen of Cord.
For the honor of Cord.
For the honor of Cord!
That was good.
Yeah. No, that was good. It's 10:30.
That's a good place to stop.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it is. We had a couple emotional beats. We got through the end of that, so I'm gonna hold it there, and we will come back next week. Everybody should take 750 experience.
Oh, it's so close.
Nobody had to get climax songed.
Nobody had to get climax songed.
Yes. There's always tomorrow.
There's always tomorrow. And it is passing into evening at this point, so I'm not sure how much is left to be said before a long rest.
The bar's all the way. Need 150 XP.
I mean,
but
then
there's
do like 2 journals, man.
So, yeah. We won't have the long rest yet, because I think there is one more thing to happen before the long rest. So, the long day of the 16th, which is nowhere near as long as the day spent inside the dungeon, is progressing toward its end.
I was hoping to talk to Narvar after helping with the walls.
That's right. Yes. So while he's fighting, the guard would definitely have come back to enlist your help, creating walls of stone to support buildings that have been severely damaged by acid. And you know that he's mostly selecting civic buildings near the center of town, things where people might need to go for shelter, places where government business needs to happen.
I can do it up to 6 times.
Can you make all of those permanent, or can only one become permanent?
They can all be permanent as long as I wait long enough in between castings.
What is long enough?
Just the 10 minutes for the first one to become permanent, and I can cast the next one.
Okay, and you can quickly explain that to him, and he will say, yes, then do that. Because they want these supports to be permanent. And you can control it to be the thickness of the original wall. It will be obvious that it is a different type of stone, since I don't know that it specifies what type of stone you create wall of stone out of. But this is specifically sandstone, and well, we'll talk about it. Maybe there's some flavor to be put in there. I'll think about it. We'll talk.
It could be just creates whatever's natural for the environment. Who knows?
Right. That's something that we'll debate with the flavor discussion, because maybe that is, or maybe it does something different. We'll talk about the pros and cons. But yeah, so that's an hour. Did you select 6 because it's an hour, or is that all of your spell slots?
Because that's literally all of my magic from lower spell slots being converted to high enough power to cast this as much as possible.
Okay, cool. And it does happen to take exactly an hour.
Takes exactly an hour and doesn't leave me a single sorcery point to spare.
Okay. And you just never noticed that Vendar has been following you around this entire time, watching you.
I mean, I literally can't. He could roll a 1 and I still won't notice. It's impossible for me to see what he does.
Yeah.
That is true. I am plus 12.
Alright. I will,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put you here.
Eventually, though, somebody else will notice me. And say something, and then they're like, what?
There's just the guard that keeps looking at you, like, confused.
It's like,
But only the one guard. Doesn't say anything, he just... You know that he is just, like, constantly just
confused.
Looking back at you, like, what the fuck is going on?
What's going on?
Because nobody else notices you.
Of course not, I'm a halfling, I don't get noticed.
Alright. I'll try to lead with your conversation with Naravar next time, then. Okay. Is that alright?
Yep.
You want to write down any notes for yourself on what you wanted to talk about, just so you have it for next time? That seems like a good idea.
I'll probably just write down the topic. I'm willing to see if I can get him to maybe cough up any of his sword and spell techniques.
Alright, then. I'm gonna fully end it there. XP was doled out. I think a lot of good roleplay was done. And we're finally past the horror that is the dragon attack.
For now. There will be more.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.